Welcome to another episode of the Mother-Daughter Duo podcast. Again, I am your host, Danielle Perkins. This is my co-host and mother,
Jean Perkins.
Mother-Daughter Duo podcast. I believe this is episode 5. Yay.
Man.
This episode is sponsored by M5 Mommy Monday Morning Motivation Meetup. Please see the scroll text below on details on how you may join. Additionally, Mom, I'm loving this momentum of how things are going. Like we said, it's episode 5. Mm-hmm. I'm loving the vibes so far. We're turning these podcasts out really quickly, FYI. I want to add 2 more things to the mix. So we already do Mother May I.
Right.
I want to add another thing called hashtag SFT. We're coining that right now.
Hashtag SFT?
Correct.
Okay. What is
so
that for?
So you are bigger on social media than I am these days.
No.
True. Very accurate. You may not want to admit it. So do you know what the hashtag is all about?
No.
So basically when you're trying to make a statement, you're coining, if you're a business and you want people to kind of like come to your website and you want to kind of push maybe a marketing idea, a strategy, you want to use a hashtag reference or hashtag red lipstick today, hashtag red earrings today, just a vibe, a feeling, a statement, a bold statement, a marketing ploy, things of that sort. So hashtag SFT, want to guess what that SFT stands for?
No.
Okay, shirt for today.
Oh, shirt for... Now, how am I supposed to know that?
You weren't supposed to know that.
Okay.
SFT, I think we're going to try to start shouting out our own brands during each podcast episode. And so SFT, shirt for today, knowledge is power, so I'm flexing. What does that mean?
Knowledge is power, so I'm flexing. I know a lot of people have heard this one statement, when we know better, we do better. So I equate that to this shirt. We don't know to do any better if we don't have the tools to do it. Mm-hmm. We don't have the insight. Nobody's poured into us any type of wisdom. So that's what I would say about this shirt. Knowledge is power. So when we know better, we do better. And the Bible, there's a scripture in the Bible that says, this is not a spiritual podcast or anything, but she knows her mommy is. I am, I am very active in my church, mm-hmm. and I am very active in my church, and I love to inspire women and love to encourage people just because of what I've gone through. So anyway, I'm always sometimes give scripture. So the one scripture I'll say is, my people perish for lack of knowledge.
Very
and
strong.
So that is something that we can relate to right now today. Sometimes we, not necessarily dying, but when I say perishing, I mean like economically we're perishing because we're not keeping up with some of the things that are going on in our world today and how we can be current with those things economically. So we're dying economically, we're dying in our knowledge base because we're not taking the tools to learn. We're not taking the tools to learn anything about business or anything about even our mental health and how to be better. So my people die for lack of knowledge. Remember that.
Yes. Okay, SFT, shirt for today. I am sporting Boy Mom Bossed Up. I have a son. Everyone would always ask me, when I was pregnant, what are you hoping for? It was always boy. Because my mom has put this hex on me since the time I was in my adolescent stages and always said, I hope you have a girl so she can grow up to be exactly like you are. And I'm grateful. God knows exactly what you need and when you need it, that I have a boy. But I think it takes a certain type of oomph to raise children in general, but to raise a boy, especially as a single mom. And so I'm motivated by this podcast, and I just want to pay tribute to myself and all moms who are doing something for yourself, for your children, to better your life. Boy Mom Bossed Up. So I'm representing my son today, and I'm representing myself in business. Okay? SFT every week. Does that sound okay?
It sounds okay. We're going to see what you're going to come up with every week.
Okay, well, you too, right? So, the other thing I want to start adding to each podcast is mommy moment. Mommy moment is an opportunity for us to kind of highlight or pay highlight to our week. That was there anything specific, like maybe something you did for yourself as a mom? I know we're a lot older. Or a mom clarity moment that you had this week. I could start off if you would like.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay. I had 2 mommy moments, and you might even be able to share the second one. But I just recently enrolled my son into a daycare. Now, I was totally against that, but I realized that my son is really advanced for his age. And then also because we've been in the house for like 2 years straight, literally, it was important for him to get out and be with other kids. So my mommy moment by sending him away to daycare at least 2 days out of the week was to be able to take some time for myself, like I preach to everyone else on this podcast, and get my nails done, was able to get my hair done, get pampered a little bit. So that was a mommy moment that I had. But the second mommy moment that I think you could share in is, we have this jingle incorporated into every episode. I played the episode for my brother, and he thinks the jingle is completely corny, and that's okay. But a jingle is exactly what it's supposed to be. It serves its purpose. It's a jingle that makes our audience, our viewers, kind of identify our podcast. And I've been playing back each episode so I can kind of like look at myself and give myself some feedback. And my son sings the jingle now.
Yeah, he does.
He's only 1 year old. 1 year old, and he's already singing this jingle. And mind you, we've only done 4 episodes so far. And it's not like I'm playing the episodes, back to back each day. So that was another like motivation kick for me, another motivation bump for me, that something that I'm doing for the betterment of ourselves and our family is even being passed down to my son in a way that the jingle is resonating with him. How cool is that?
It was cool. That was cool.
Yesterday, we were all in the living room together, and I said, "Mom, press pause on your show right quick." And it just took a quick second for my son to understand and recognize what I was doing. He ran over to the phone, and he showed out for you right quick.
Yeah.
That was cool. Do you have a mommy moment you want to add, or would you like to borrow mine?
I don't have them. I think I have mommy moments every day, like when I'm able to.
Your son, you've been speaking with him about his week and his progression at his job, maybe?
Yeah, my son is sharing. So Danielle helped me discover a mommy moment. I was getting ready to say how I take time to myself.
That's
That's all the time. Yeah, she was getting ready to say that. Sure is, because I was so stressed being a single mom for 30 some, however long it was when they began to get on their own. But I would say, have taken some time out. My son is determined that he's going to make it. And so he keeps things to himself because he out there grinding.
You mean make it outside of you?
Right, make it outside of me.
Right.
He works. My son is working and everything. But he had called me and asked me some advice, some financial advice. And so I was just excited to just dialogue with him, just kind of give him my perspective. And he was like, "Oh, I never thought of that, Mom. Well, thanks." And so just to know that he took the time to call me at work, and we didn't connect until after I got off work and talked on the way home, on the drive home. And it was, so every time I get those moments with him, I'm grateful.
Yay. I love that. Okay, so jumping into today's episode, the purpose of the podcast, you've heard us say time and time again already, is that we want to use this as an opportunity for ourselves to do a deeper dive into our relationship, our dynamic. Me as a new mom, I want to understand a little bit more about my mom and what it was like parenting, because I could potentially be a single parent, for however long. Also, we talk a lot about our own mental health issues, childhood trauma, generational curses, and societal stigmas as single mothers. So with that in mind, this episode is a lot of what I am dealing with right now in real time. And if I can be very transparent with you, I'm going to be like completely open today. And I'm talking from a place of accountability. So when I say accountability, I mean the decision to the decision on who I, share my body and myself with, the decision to take more precautionary steps and prevent unintended outcomes, having better expectations and conversations while dating so you know who the person you're dealing with is, although you can never fully know everything about your significant other. It's very important to understand, is this even someone I want to give myself to? I want to open up to? Is he worth dating? Is she worth dating? Also, accountability for my personal decisions and how to protect myself, my heart, my body, making sure I'm, like I said, taking precautionary measures. You can use your brain for that one. And also accountability to assume responsibility for a child once that child is here. So all of those things is what I've been dealing with as of recently. Obviously, my son being 1, turning 2 this weekend. So also, quick disclaimer, I have a degree in educational leadership and I have a degree in human services. Mom, you have a degree in social services and evangelism work, right?
No degrees, no. Not in that, just a degree in social services.
Okay, but you've been doing evangelism for the past 12, maybe 15 years? Okay. I say that to say that we are only speaking from our personal experiences. Although we do serve and we give our advice from a place of, love, care, we are not the experts. So a lot of this stuff, if you do feel anything that resonates with you, and for yourself, your well-being, for your children, it's important, again, that you always go out and seek the professional resources. And so with that said, accountability being the topic, this Mother May I question comes from me, Mom. When a man and woman have unprotected sex and know there could be a possibility of getting pregnant, do you think that man and woman both get to say what happens next after finding out they're pregnant?
I believe the man should at least be heard, but ultimately, at the end of the day, the woman, which is the one that's carrying the seed, will make that final decision. It's her choice, her body. You might not like it, but that's the way it is.
Okay. So I asked that question. Like I say, this is real time for me. I have heard, from different women in different platforms that although 2 people conceive, it's okay for you to want to do things on your own, but you should go out and you should put that person on child support if they don't want to take financial responsibility. When I talk about accountability for myself, I've always come from a place of there were a lot of things that I did not do right. Therefore, I'm taking accountability and I'm going to step up to the plate and take care of this responsibility on my own. What would you say to that? Do you think that, I don't think it's necessarily fair that if this person says, I don't want this child, although I had an act in procreating and creating this child, do you think it's fair to go put that person on child support?
It's a hard one. I mean, that's a hard one. That individual knew when. My thing is this: there's always a consequence when 2 people come together and lay down and have sex, because there's a difference between sex and intimacy. So and have sex, and so you lay down knowing that there's a possibility this could happen, and so knowing that you have to take responsibility for the outcome.
Yeah.
So I would say yes.
So it's okay to go say, okay, because we made this child together, regardless if you wanted it or not, I'm putting you on child support.
Again, that's a choice that individual made going in. And so I mean, if you have a conversation together, you sit down and the two of you have a conversation, and you go into this conversation knowing, hey, I don't have any protection. I'm talking about the woman, right? I don't have any protection. We can't do this today. Oh, baby, come on. We can do it. It's going to be okay. And, if something happened, I'm going to watch out for you, You go into it, had a discussion, then both of you are responsible.
Oh.
Excuse me, I've been having a tickle for the last couple of days. And then if you have a conversation and both of you, he says, I don't want to have a kid. And y'all have that discussion.
You mean ahead of time?
Ahead of time. And you know that he doesn't want a kid. And you still put him in a position. But I believe he puts himself there too because he still lay down with you. It's still his responsibility.
My conversations, I was very forthcoming. I'm just, like I say, I'm just me. I'm going to say and speak, shoot from the hip. I'm a Taurus. You'll hear me say that time and time and again. And so at this juncture, especially at 35 years old, I just don't think there's any reason to be like holding anything back. There's not a lot of skeletons left in my closet. So I don't have any problem of saying, hey, I'm not taking any birth control because I don't like what it's doing to my body. And at this time, I'm 35 years old. If I was to have a kid, I wouldn't be upset. And so we've had those conversations almost each time.
And he still go into it.
And I feel like partially because I said what I needed to say, because we still partook, then he was kind of down. But I never got the okay from him. We never did a deep dive.
You didn't have to do a deep dive. He still laid down. That's what his deep dive was. He still laid down.
No pun intended, I hope.
No pun intended.
Oh, okay.
No, he agreed.
That was the agreement.
Yeah, he agreed. As a potential. That's what's going to exist. That's what's going to happen. There's a baby that's going to come out of this when two people lay down. Mm-hmm. And listen, in 2022... there should be no unwanted pregnancies in 2022.
What do you mean?
Nobody
because there's so many resources. Contraceptive, Plan B,
conversation,
condoms,
conversation. There should be no unwanted kids. Like, oh my God,
there should be no accidents.
I did not want to have no. I didn't want to have a baby. No, yes you did. You did subconsciously. Yes you did.
Okay, well, we have like 10 minutes left, so I want to ask you, what does it mean to take accountability for your actions, and why do you think we blame others for our own actions?
I just think not, being mature and grown up as far as when you say taking accountability. And what was the other part of that?
Just what does accountability look like?
Well, I think accountability looks like, okay, here is the outcome of a choice that you made, and you're taking accountability, standing up to that outcome.
Standing on that decision.
Standing up to that decision, standing up and doing whatever you need to do to face whatever decision came out of that or whatever result came out of the choice that was made. You taking accountability to face it head on and do what needs to be done. That's what I think accountability is. And
did you say why you think we blame others instead of taking accountability for ourselves?
I think when we don't take accountability, it's because we're trying to protect or save face, right? We're not mature enough to accept responsibility. It makes us feel better to blame somebody else instead of and not realizing how much better you would feel about yourself if you just go ahead and just take accountability of the mistake that you made.
Right.
Okay, yeah, I did that. And then because you're constantly living up to this other image that you have put out that you don't have any responsibility. So you kind of walk in that and you embrace that as if that's real and that's true, and it's not. So I think taking accountability just kind of lessens the pressure that you have put on yourself.
Yeah. I have a good example of that. Like I said, I'm being pretty forward in this conversation today. So my child's father, he has an older son, and his side of the family still does not know that he's been
that my grandson exists.
I have met his older son on a few occasions, but I don't know if it's because he's trying to protect that relationship or what, or the judgment or the pressure that comes with, his family. I don't know if
What
that's
is he protecting his child from?
okay, but that's what I was going to say. You kind of want
Because
to.
Pierre is only 2, so he ain't going to wield the knife and kill him. So what are you trying to protect him
Well, I'm
from?
talking about his older son.
I know. I said, what is he trying to protect? My grandson's
Well, I'm
name.
saying just still trying to find out if he and I, we're still trying to figure each other out, right? So not sure if you want to open that door because you have a son that you're trying to protect who is an older son.
The kids are innocent in this.
Yes, they are, exactly.
And again, the unwanted or undue pressure that he put on himself. Kids are such natural rebounders. They can rebound from anything.
They can adapt. But the only point I was trying to make, and I want to be very clear, is that if you have made a baby with someone that you barely know, because let's be honest, it was not an intended situation that we went into, and you're still trying to figure that person out, you may be trying to protect you kept us away from a lot of different men for that purpose of protecting us and shielding us, right? So maybe he was trying to do that to begin with. But I think that, like you said, you're adding a lot more pressure on you because now he's in a situation where he could really lean on us for a lot of assistance in a lot of different areas of his life, and he being my child's father. But because he's kept the family separate for so long, he's like holding on by a fingernail at this point in terms of keeping his life together. And I'm not making excuses, but I'm just saying, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. I'm telling you, I agree with some of what you're saying, but I also do understand, if I am being fair, that sometimes you kind of want to protect your child from this stranger that you're still trying to get to know. But at this point, we're almost 3 years in.
Yeah. What's strange about you?
He's still trying to figure that out. But I agree that he should have, had he had told his son about this family a little earlier, he wouldn't have to be taking on so much of a load right now himself. Like, he works 2 full-time jobs, sometimes might not have the support he needs for his other child. Instead of being able to say, hey, can I lean on you, and can my older son, come over and we all kind of hang out and you watch them for a little bit? Can the kids be together? Or if I say, can you please take Pierre for a day? I can't really say that because you're hiding Pierre from your family. If there was a situation that came up, what are you going to do? If I can't meet you, it's not like you can call your family to ask to step in and help out or anything like that because you're keeping it a secret. So that goes back to accountability for him, but accountability for me. Had I taken more precautionary steps to get to know this person before I made a child with this person, and like you said, it's 2022 at this point, you should have known better. That's my advice to people in general, because the people that are mostly impacted are the children at the end of the day.
That's right.
So in closing, how can we take more accountability as individuals, just in life in general? This topic, but just in general, how can we be more accountable to ourselves in our decision making?
Well, you give me your example. Because I thought I kind of mentioned what it
Yeah,
took,
but in closing, in summation, we're wrapping it all up. But I would just say, as I just mentioned, making sure you vet the people that you have in your circle, making sure that you're protecting yourself, your heart, your body, making sure that you ask the right questions, you do your due diligence, go out on a few dates. And I used to be the queen of dating. And I mean to say that courting someone we've kind of gotten away from that too.
That's true.
Not going out on dates to figure out, who you're dealing with. But I think because I was really vulnerable in the situation, the working place, I met this person and kind of let my guard down, which is not an excuse. But I think that is how I ended up in this situation. So those are my 3 things. I would say making sure you're doing your due diligence to protect yourself, your heart, making sure you're asking the right questions to vet the person that you're dealing with. And I forgot what the 3rd one is, but do you want to add to it?
No, I think you had all of yours are great ones. You have to do your due diligence. Get back to dating. We have gone so far away from dating. What the whole scene look like now is you like somebody, y'all hang out at the house, don't nobody go out.
Netflix and chill.
Yeah, you Netflix and chill, and next thing you know, in a week's time, 2 weeks' time, y'all moving in together.
And
It's
in
so
your days,
cavalier now. It's just so, I'm not cavalier, but it's so casual now just to do that. And dating is just like some ancient thing that we used to do in the past, and I think we really need to get back to dating. And just take some time to really vet. And you got to start asking questions like right away. And even then, even when you think you have asked all the right questions, she's in her 30s, I'm in my 60s. Still, even the 60-year, the men that are 60 are fools too. So,
and us women are also fools.
yeah, we can be vulnerable.
That's
and
the
we
point
can
of the
make bad
podcast.
choices. And so, even with all of your questions and inquiry into their life, they can still present themselves a particular way. But I've heard this said so many times before, when a person shows you who they are, believe them. Mm-hmm. So there are times I know that there might be a little insight or a little inkling that you might see. I want you to give pause to that and really think about it, because it is really some information that you need to dig deeper and find out before you continue to go further in a relationship. So I would say now take your time. Take your time, because, it's bad on both fronts.
Yes. Accountability. I think that final statement that you said, taking your time, and even if you see those red flags, and you miss some of those things, and not miss them, but you,
we see them.
Yeah.
A lot of times people see them. They're right back here.
Okay. I was wrapping it up now.
I'm sorry, but we got another minute. A lot of times we see them, and it'd be right back there, and we just want to push it back there because we really don't want to acknowledge it when we need to.
And I was going to say, as a women, we have been the most, we've fallen short of that the most as women. And so when you do see those red flags, that's what I mean about taking accountability. Making sure that even if you fall, even if you fall into all of that and what that entails, making sure that you can stand on your own 2 feet and say, hey, I saw the red flags. I chose not to take it for what it was. And so now I'm in this situation, and now I'm going to walk on my own 2 feet and do whatever it takes to get out of said situation. And that's period. That's on period. Mm-hmm. Okay. That was episode 5, accountability. Thank you for hearing from me and my mother on that topic. It was a very vulnerable topic for me. And I put my baby daddy on blast. So
how you feel about it?
I put my baby daddy on blast.
Okay, but how you feel about all of that now that you done put that out? It's in the atmosphere now.
Yeah, I'm good. It's fine. I'm happy.
All right.
He might not be. Anyways, we'll see you on episode 6. Peace out.
Peace.
Mother-Daughter Duo Podcast.